I like to use training tools that are versatile, that take up a minimal amount of space, and they can be used for all experience levels. So today what I've done is taken a simple weight sled here with some weight plates stacked on it. I've actually attached some gymnastics rings because weight sleds are actually a great way to do upper body training. They're not only good for lower body training, and when you add the rings like this, it gives you a lot bigger range of motion to work those upper body movements. The straps that come with this sled, they're good for some things, but they're a little too short especially if you are a taller person. So what I want to do today is just to demonstrate some of the movements that I like to use with the weight sled that specifically target the upper body. So what you can do, some of the basics ones we can start out with is a simple press. So stepping 1 foot forward and just pressing like that. Another big step, pressing. Okay, and you can do these for a prescribed number of reps, or you can just go a certain distance and make your way back. Now, if you switch it up and just press with one arm, then you obviously are increasing the load on this arm, and then you're increasing the tension throughout the abdominal area because you have to resist that rotation, and the obliques and the abs have to work harder, and the hips too, to stabilize yourself. Obviously, switching arms and getting the movement on both sides. Okay. So now looking at some upper back movements we can do. We can basically do what's very similar to like a cable row. So coming here, bending the knees a bit and just rowing in. For most people, this weight will be fairly light, but you can stack more weight on or simply just move the sled onto a surface that has more friction. So if I were to put this onto the grass, it's going to be much harder, and I don't even need that much weight. So we can do the double arm row. We can do a single arm row, like so. You can do kind of a straight arm pullover motion. So keeping the arms out front and pulling through behind. That's a good one to hit both the lats and the triceps. And this can also be done with a single arm as well. So just get creative with these movements. There's a ton of different variations you can use. So now we can also get into some isolated arm movements. So with the triceps, we can come around here and do like an overhead tricep extension. We can change the angle to match closer to a flat tricep extension, as if you were laying on a flat bench. Okay. We can also turn it around and do a kickback type motion. While it resembles a kickback, it actually feels more like a cable press down, since you don't have much tension at the top. And I actually like to sequence these so that I'm doing one after another. So I might go overhead, flat, and then kickback, all in one sequence, kind of like a giant set there. So now we can also hit the biceps. So one of my favorites, I love doing incline bicep curls. with dumbbells on a bench. And you can sort of mimic a similar movement here. So taking a step forward so that my arms are stretched behind my body, my palms are facing forward, and I'm curling up. Okay, so I'm not moving my arms all the way forward. I'm just starting behind, and I'm trying to bring my fists up towards the chest and shoulder. Okay, so that's kind of like an incline curl. Now you can turn it around and let the tension of the straps keep your arms out front, and you're curling up towards the face. And with any of these, you can change the angle slightly. You can curl a little bit lower down. You can do a reverse curl if you switch the position of the wrist. So there's no rules you have to stick to. Just figure out what you want to work on, what variations are maybe a little bit more challenging for you, and then work on those. So now we can move into some more targeted shoulder movements, where the arm is basically staying straight and you're just moving at the shoulder joint. So we can do a front raise here, starting the exact same as those incline curls, but now we're just raising the arms straight up. Okay, so this is a tougher movement with this weight. So you're probably going to use less resistance on these compared to a curl. So you can do those with the palms up. Again, feel free to switch up the grip, palms down. They're all effective variations. And this is another good one to do in a sequence. You can do that front raise, start off with that, and then move straight into your presses. Okay, so a lot of creativity you can put together with these sled movements. So you can also do a lot of reverse fly variations with the sled. And I took a little weight off since these are going to be a little bit more challenging if you try to match the same weight. So we can start off coming low. So bringing the arms out and ending up around hip level with the hands. You can go shoulder height. And you can do a high angle as well. And they're all going to hit the muscle fibers in slightly different ways. Now, instead of doing reps, one thing you can do is actually just hold the arms out in an isometric position as you walk. So what that's going to do is really emphasize that end of range of motion and holding the arms in that position. So I could start out here. Oops. I could start out here and then just walk, doing my best to hold the arms in that position. And you can change them as you go if you like. And that's a great one just to do for a set distance. And then on the way back, you can do a different variation. So with that in mind, the isometrics, holding the isometrics while walking, we can also do them walking forward. And what that's going to do is add a lot of tension onto the abs, and it actually strengthens the shoulder when it's back in a more stretched position, which I in particular like to do because I have an old pec injury on this side, a torn pec. That's why you see it kind of flex in weird. This helps me strengthen those deep ranges of motion in a way that's very safe, and I know I'm not at any real risk of re-injuring that area. So we can start overhead. Holding here, I need to tense myself up, and then I start to walk here. Okay, so we can walk with the arms overhead, we can walk out to the side and we can change the angles here. So those are all, different creative ways that you can add some variety to your upper body training. All you really need is some rings, or really any kind of straps. It doesn't need to be rings, and something to drag some weights on. So I have an actual weight sled. I think it costs about $70, but if you want to rig something up right now, you don't have a sled, just have a piece of sheet metal, piece of sturdy plastic, or whatever it is that you can drag along the ground. That's really all you need. And the more friction it has, the harder it's going to be, which means you don't need to add as much weight and be loading and unloading a bunch of weight plates. So don't worry if your surface is not necessarily perfectly smooth, because that might actually help you be able to get in your exercises without needing to lug a bunch of weight around, especially if you go out to a track or a field to do your workouts. Probably 50 to 100 pounds is all you would need for all kinds of training. So with a sled, you can also do a lot of good rotational movements. So one way to get a upper body oblique sort of training, you're gonna grab the handles or rings with both hands, step forward, and just gonna rotate there. So I'm starting that rotation through my hips and following through with the upper body. Now you can do this where you just kind of do one rep, step into the next, do another rep again, or you can do it at a little more quicker pace where you kind of move quickly from one to the next. So here, okay. So this weight is a little too light to do that movement properly because it's kind of sliding and creating too much slack in the strap. But if you find a weight, if I added a little bit more on so that the momentum wouldn't carry it through as much, then once I take that little hop step, I'm right in position again to do the next rep. So I think I'll wrap it up with that for today. There's so many different variations that you can do with the sled. You can obviously have the gymnastics rings attached to it. You can use even like a rope handle like you would use on a cable machine in a gym. You can, instead of having rings here, you can attach like a towel or something so that you're really working that crushing grip strength as you're doing all your different movements. So many different ways that you can add variations to these. And it's cheap, it's effective, whether you're a beginner or an elite athlete, everybody can benefit from these. So give them a shot in your workouts. Let me know if you come up with any new variations, and train hard.